father was an atheist and her mother a non-practicing Christian. But after becoming a young adult, she traveled back to the UK to attend college. It is there that she met many Muslims, but did not accept Islam in the UK until after traveling to different Muslim countries. She is now a practicing Muslim woman, wife, mother, and an author. She has been Muslim for 8.5 years now, and her life changes has now caused her father, who was once against Islam, to become her biggest supporter.
I was heavily into student politics and black politics in particular. So I was, president of the African Caribbean Society. We were very pro-black, pro-Africanist. We were really involved in all of that. We even went to a few Nation of Islam meetings, etc. And so I wasn't interested in Muslims. The first time that I actually became aware of Islam and had to start asking myself questions about it was when I went to Egypt for a music festival. And while I was there, I noticed the women in hijab all around me. And contrary to obviously how I feel now, at the time I was shocked and deeply troubled by what I considered, this symbol of male dominance and oppression. And, I was all for liberating them from their veils. But that was what kind of opened my eyes to Islam. And it was when I met a sister who was actually wearing the hijab, and I said to her, "You are beautiful. Why do you cover yourself?" And she said, "Because I want to be judged for what I say and what I do, not what I look like." And that hit me in a place that I had never been hit before, because I had never considered that viewpoint. I had never considered that angle. When I grew up, and the culture that we grew up in, it was, if you've got it, flaunt it. As everybody, most people in the world, if you're young and you're pretty, for any woman, you're told that's your currency. That's what's going to get you what you want in life. And for this woman to tell me she didn't want any of that, I thought, what is this Islam that makes this woman so strong that she doesn't need what almost every other woman in the world needs, which is male validation? And that's what got me thinking about hijab, about Islam, about my life, about her life, and the way I wanted to go forward from then on. So I resolved, upon coming back to the UK, to start reading the Quran and seeing what Islam was all about. And I did that, and alhamdulillah, many of the injunctions in the Quran made a lot of sense to me. Not drinking alcohol was one that comes to mind. The idea of there being a creator, of there being a God, of us needing him, of us needing to pray to him, that made a lot of sense to me. So I started putting those into practice straight away. Although at the time I did not want to become a Muslim, because as far as I was concerned, that was just too extreme. And another thing as well is, as I mentioned, I was coming from this pro-black Africanist background, and as far as I was concerned, Islam was for Arabs and Asians, and I did not want to sell out, if you like. It was something very important to me. I did not want to sell out my identity and sell out my ancestral heritage, if you like, to ape somebody else, to become an Asian, to become an Arab, to become a Pakistani. And if that's what Islam meant, then I didn't want that. So, a sister I know who was actually from a Caribbean background, she became Muslim. And we were talking a lot at the time about Islam, and she asked me to teach her how to tie head wraps and stuff like that. And she said to me, you have to choose, you can't sit on the fence like this. And I said, well, as I said, Islam is for Arabs and Asians. I'm an African woman, what's it got to do with me? And she said, well, they're African Muslims. And I said, yes, that's true, there are. I'm going to go to Africa and see how African Muslims practice Islam. And alhamdulillah, I did. I went to Senegal and to Guinea, but it didn't even take me getting past the airport in Paris before I saw the Muslims from Senegal and said, I like this. I like this way. I like what it does to people. I like the manners that it gives them. I like the dignity that it gives them. And that's kind of how it started. So I went to Guinea, and when I was there, they taught me how to pray. I fasted Ramadan with them. I started covering, as the women in Guinea cover, etc. And then I took my shahada when I came back. MashaAllah. My father had already heard on the grapevine that I was interested in Islam and I was doing some Muslim things, and he was very upset by that. So I knew that it wasn't going to be something that my family were going to be very happy about. But at the time, as I said, I was living in the UK and I had lots of Muslim and revert friends at the time. So it wasn't something that I worried about in my own inner circle. So, we just went to the Central Mosque in London, and we went up there, and it was very simple, really. It was just an affirmation of what had already gone before, really. It wasn't a huge milestone because I was already praying, I was already fasting, I was already covering. This was merely a formality. So when I took the Shahada, that's what it was like. It was just a natural flow. Personally, I feel that every one of us has been given gifts, inshallah, by Allah. Every one of us has different talents. And my fervent wish and my dua is that Allah makes whatever He has given me in His service, inshallah. And that whatever skills He's given me, I can use them to worship Him better. And if that means giving da'wah, alhamdulillah. If it means writing books, alhamdulillah. If it means talking and giving lectures, etc., alhamdulillah. I'm happy to do that for the sake of Allah, because all the gifts are from Him anyway, alhamdulillah. Unfortunately, if you go to any bookshop, in any Western bookshop, around the world, you will find books about Muslim women, but more often than not, they go into two categories. There's the escapee and the victim. And the Muslim woman is constantly being stereotyped in these two ways. We wanted to break that stereotype. We wanted to get behind the headlines and behind the hype. Sisters are always saying things like, I feel liberated by the hijab, Islam has liberated me, etc. So blending in is not the aim. I think for me, especially with this latest row about the veil, etc. in the UK, I feel the onus is on me and on other sisters in my position to constantly explain to people who we are, what we are about, what we stand for, why we do what we do. Because a lot of the attitudes towards Muslims and Muslim women in particular are based on ignorance. Most people in the UK, for example, have never met and talked to or had a deep conversation with a Muslim woman, let alone a Muslim woman who covers the way that I cover. That's something that will definitely lead to the feelings of fear or feeling insecure or any of these things that people say they feel when they see women like myself. This is fueled by ignorance and fueled by not having experience of us and not knowing us for who we are. So for me, it's not about blending in. It's about how can I have a positive impact on my society? How can I be an active member of society while still worshipping Allah, while still obeying my Lord, while still remaining in the bounds of the Sharia, inshallah? How can I help here? What can I do? What is my contribution? That's more what I'm focused on. I think one piece of advice would be, if you want the truth, if you want to worship God, if you want to worship God in the way that He wants to be worshipped, put that first. Because that is more important than anything else. And that's something that we all need to realize. That at the end of the day, we were created to worship our Creator. And that has to come first. Islam was revealed for the whole of mankind. You are not to become a carbon copy of somebody else. Certain aspects about all of us, whether we be white, black, Arab, Asian, African, whatever, certain aspects of our natures or the things that we're into or our cultures will be fine with Islam, and other aspects will not be okay with Islam. For everyone, not just somebody coming from outside. There's many things that Muslims do and Muslims have that are actually contrary to Islam. You are still an individual, Allah made you that way, and you will find your place within Islam, inshallah. But the only thing is to be sincere for His sake, and do it for His sake, not because it fits in with your life plan, or it fits in with your goals, or it fits in with your ideas. When Allah gives us a plan, we fit the plan. We don't try and make the plan fit us.